for joining today. Today, we're having a table talk discussion about IT careers and helping young people identify different types of career fields within the IT discipline. We wanted to get together with a few IT professionals to talk about how they enter their career field, different things that they've experienced while in the IT career field. And hopefully this information session will be able to help you all make informed decisions about what choices to make and how to move forward. So I wanted to be sure that we touch bases on different types of discipline. There's a big buzz out in the, I feel out in the younger community about the IT profession when it comes to cybersecurity. Everybody is aware of cybersecurity, but there are so many other disciplines that fall up under that. So I wanted to turn it over to our Vice President Arnaldo to start to speak on these topics and discussions.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Arnaldo Medina. I'm the VP here at FTZ, and I'm currently in the cybersecurity realm as a information system security engineer and architect, right? So I got my start in this field about 4 years ago. After 25 years in the physical security realm, I decided it was time for a pivot. So physical security and cybersecurity kind of parallel each other. Where I was securing physical assets, I'm now securing logical assets, electronics, things of that nature, components. So same concepts pretty much apply. So I've been in the security arena for 25 years. And then those 25 years, 6 of those years I've been in IT. So I worked 2 careers. I was a federal employee by day and IT service desk system administrator by night, just to get a feel of what those type of roles entailed in the event that I wanted to actually pivot to the IT side. So the buzzword, of course, was cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. That experience alone kind of finally allowed me 4 years ago to actually pivot into cybersecurity. So what I do is more of the governance, risk, and compliance side of IT, right? Where I collaborate with system engineers of different backgrounds, system developers, network engineers, and I'm the one evangelizing what security requirements need to be implemented within these systems, so they ensure that information is traversing these enclaves or networks in a safe manner, right? So there's a lot of documentation side of the house. I take care of the documentation engineering of cyber realm. What got me started into the cybersecurity arena was I worked alongside a former boss at a federal government, and he loved throwing certifications in my face, but he wasn't an actual practitioner, right? So it was a paper tiger, as they call them, and it kind of piqued my curiosity. I'm like, well, a certification is fine and dandy, but the hands-on is what adds value, right? So after so many years, I was able to pivot. I work in the DoD IC community, intelligence community here in Maryland, and there's a plethora of opportunities within this realm. One of the things that I noticed in the DoD IC, if you're in that part of that conglomerate, certifications as the CISSP, which is the golden standard in cybersecurity, opens up a lot of doors to any type of discipline or domain that you're currently in. So that certification alone opened up some opportunities for me, and then from there I progressed. I also have several certifications through my SACA, the CISM, and one dealing with data privacy and engineering as well. Anything privacy and security pretty much open doors. Yeah, people frown upon it because it's paper intensive, but it's the super boring stuff that will keep you out of trouble, right? So it'll keep you out of any type of litigation. So I've been, again, 4 years in this realm, still learning, still improving. I also pursued an actual graduate degree in cybersecurity through WGU, and I tell you that program is phenomenal. They helped me to pretty much sharpen my skill sets as far as in my current role, right? So not only did the graduate program provide real world scenarios, right? It also paid for and allowed me to take some of these reputable certifications as well, included as part of the tuition. So people may talk down about WGU, but I sing its praises. I mean, it's a phenomenal uh, program with regards to their bachelor's and their graduate degree in cyber. And it opened us a lot of doors, and it's also accredited by I believe, by NSA as well. So those credentials alone will definitely carry a lot of weight in the DMV area and anywhere you go. Specifically, WGU has a very strong security program, and I highly recommend it for those that are pursuing once you're ready, right? I know these type of degrees and programs cost some money, a lot of capital that needs to be invested. But WGU, I love what they do with their programs, and it's very cost effective. So whenever you have a chance, take a look at it if you haven't done so already. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for me. Recruiters are nonstop 24/7, inquiring about I'm available for new opportunities. So I thank WGU for allowing me those opportunities. So again, I've been in this cybersecurity realm for 4 years, but in IT a total of 6 years, right? So so far so good. And I guess as you continue to progress, right now, what's currently trending in the cyber realm is also cybersecurity in the cloud, right? So everybody that I work alongside with, they're slowly migrating from a traditional IT infrastructure platforms to the cloud. So how do we secure that? How do we ensure that security components are safeguarded as best as possible? It's a new thing for me. So it's one of these fields where you're continuously learning if you love to learn, and not to mention the salaries that one's will earn are tremendous, and it's no lie there, but it's a journey, right? Yeah, the money will come, but it's definitely a path that takes time and skill sets that takes time to really perfect. But again, the money will be there. And I can attest that it's been life changing, life altering since I left the federal government. So um, that's all I have to say for now. I guess I'll pass it on to Kenyatta.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Nando.
Yep.
I want to tag on to what you just said regarding the salary and the time it takes. I started my journey back in 2014, between 2014 and 2016. I was actually kind of lucky. I kind of lucked into the position I was in because I was allowed to learn while I was working. The contract ended and another company came in, picked me up, liked my work ethic, and just told me to just stick with the IT team, learn how to break down servers, what they're about and stuff like that. And I followed that. I followed his advice, and they just kept me on. So I started off as an AutoCAD technician and transitioned to help desk, support desk technician. And I guess like 5 years into it, went and got my A+ certification from CompTIA, then followed that up with my Security Plus certification with CompTIA. Currently enrolled in some classes to get my cybersecurity engineering degree, which is the role I'm currently in. More so on the technical side of it. So I'm not as much documentation, but more so information security, cloud security, network security, vulnerability management, and tracking. We also do. I work for the DoD, so we do a lot of RMF, making sure that a lot of sites are secure, obtaining their ATOs. And right now, I'm just trying to stay the course because I like what I do, but stay on the technical side because the further you get into it, it becomes more documentation, more paperwork, and I'm not really into the paperwork side of it. But the money does come. I will agree with that. It's just a lot of dedication, a lot of time, a lot of focus, because depending on which direction you decide to go, since I decided to stay on the technical side, I have to keep up with the trends and vulnerabilities, hackers, and all the stuff, those things in that area. So it's time. I don't want to say it's time consuming, because if you like what you do, it never feels like work. So for me, I love what I do. I love the company I work for. I'm currently taking classes at PGCC. They have a decent program, but I'm looking to transition to another program I found at Maryland University. They have a decent cybersecurity program. So it just takes time. And if you really want, if you're really looking to succeed in what you're doing, I think you'll, the effort that you put into it you'll see the rewards of that, or I guess if they say the fruits of your labor.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's my journey. Not as extensive, but it was a good, it's cool. It's still ongoing, and I'm having fun. So
Everyone, or good evening, I should say.
Hey, Hajj.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So, my journey is not like two of my colleagues here. I am not in the security or the cyber field. It started for me I guess about 15 years ago. I actually got my undergrad in graphic design, and then started, after graduating, started my own small little company. Realized the money in there wasn't or the income I was expecting, and the journey there, it took the zeal out of me basically, and I tried to see how I could streamline and add to it. So I went ahead and took a class at my local community college in Prince George's County, PG Community. I took a couple of classes just for me to get my feet wet in the IT realm, because I knew I needed to add that to what I was doing in the graphics design space. While I was taking classes there, I kind of got interested in database management and systems um, development. I went on, got my got a not AA, but I got a, can't remember the exact cert it was back then, but I got a certification in there, and from there I went on to my alma mater, back to Towson, and took a master's class in information systems and database management. While I was doing that, I still was actually got a job in as a assistant, not as a help desk specialist. So I started off as a help desk specialist. I did that for roughly about 4 or 5 years. Um, while also my wife was in the medical field, so I was traveling up and down and switching jobs. So I did transition from that into management, and I'm currently, part of my dog in the background. Um, and I transitioned over to the management field, systems admins. I manage developers now, and also help desk specialists. Um, Over the years, I've learned to get myself more versed in technology, taking classes, and even doing or signing up for various self-taught platforms like Udemy, taking courses in there, understanding how the technology is changing. And currently, and I also, while going through this journey, I've been in all sectors of, in terms of private companies. I've worked for both feds and state government, and now I'm back in the private sector, like home lifestyle fixtures. One thing I do want to just emphasize in terms of my growth into my career field is having a network of your peers that you can always reach out to. That's one of the resources I use all the time, and Google, by the way. So in different sectors, programmers, developers, network engineers, um, project managers. So just touching bases with them on a regular, just trying to keep up with things, sharing ideas, talking about the day-to-day roadblocks and even tips into how to manage your work life and family life or any kind of issues you're trying to deal with. It's been an interesting journey. I would say it has been a challenge or is a challenge ongoing for me. Just the different sectors and factors of it, especially in what I do right now, just in being the IT operations manager. It's not just one realm, like I stated before. You have to be understand IT in general and the infrastructure challenges I had. But I would say it's been financially beneficial. It's been great career for me. I'm not sure what my next challenge would be, but I see myself, going to various other things later on.
Excellent.
I wanted to inquire about something. When you said like help desk, right? Your experience as a help desk technician, um, what kind of duties did that entail for you?
So
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
as a help desk technician, you're like the face of the company. So you're the first line of defense
Yep.
for any tier one level troubleshooting. So just really getting the information about what the issue is. And if there's any other light issues, it's mostly like connecting printers, setting up desktops, setting up the user's workstation, making sure everything is working. Any light network troubleshooting, making sure all the lights are blinking and stuff like that. So that's like your basic level help desk tier one support.
Got you. Okay. So when we start to talk about tier one and tier two, what does that really mean for somebody who doesn't understand like different tiers, I guess, when it comes to different types of work done in the IT field?
So tier one, like I said, is your basic level. Tier two is like your intermediate, maybe sysadmin. Yeah, maybe some sysadmin work. And tier three is your SMEs. Those are the people that you go to when you just can't figure out what the issue is. And they
Gotcha.
generally have a good grasp on what it is and how to resolve the issues.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. What would be an example of like tier two?
Tier two would be calling a support desk or like like when you call your HP help desk support and they walk you through some troubleshooting steps remotely
Okay.
that will possibly resolve the issue, and they get more information, more detailed information that they can pass along to their tier three. So tier three would be, okay, tier one couldn't fix it. It wasn't just blinking lights. It wasn't just connecting or powering down and rebooting. Tier two was, oh, we got a little bit more information. It's not application issues. It's something a little bit more, maybe scripting, maybe patching. So that's when they escalated to tier three, and tier three pretty much takes care of everything else.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. That all makes sense to me. I guess for Arnaldo, like
Yep.
where do you feel like the disconnect is between trying to get from tier one support to like somebody in tier three? Like what are the issues between the two, right? Because all of them, for a program to be effective, I'm guessing everybody has to be able to communicate the same and have the somewhat of the same wavelength of knowledge when it comes to escalating these type of things, right? So if you had to speak on like your experience from how things escalate from tier one to tier two to the three or whatever, right? How does that work, and how do you all communicate when it comes to, hey, like that's not my expertise, that's your expertise, or is it credential wise or what?
Yeah. So what I experienced early on, right? There was one lack of playbooks, right, or SOPs, right, and then the not only to mention the high
What is the
turn,
SOP? What is the SOP?
the standard operating procedures, right? They're go bys
Yeah.
that anybody, any lay person can pick up, and it runs you through all the steps that you need to do to accomplish that task, right? 9 times out of 10, what my experience is, it was poorly written, non-existent, and then the turnover rate of the tiers of the personnel in these tiers was so high that sometimes these tickets that are put in by the tier one guys that are getting elevated, there's certain service level agreements that you need to complete within a certain time frame. Those things are always in delay, and on the back end of that, there was a relatively mad customer because their needs weren't being facilitated in a timely fashion. So those are one of the things that I saw, right, from a tier one perspective. The tier two folks, one, they were also, and another aspect of that, they were always inundated with so many tickets,
Mhm.
right? So it's only but so much you can do in an 8-hour, 10-hour shift, right? So those are the things that we contended with a lot in a help desk environment.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I understand that. If you had to say like what is a challenge that you face in this working environment trying to go out your day, right? Because I know some things are technology driven, some things are practical driven, some things require you to do a little research on. So like in a typical workday, and any of you can answer this question, in a typical workday, what would you say your like one of your biggest challenges, and how you go about fixing it or working with others to fix it?
The operations, the systems you're working with, understanding who the key players are,
Mhm.
developing those relationships. We call it social engineering, making sure that who are the key players still based on the issues that come your way, but outside of your direct responsibility, and being able to triage and work with them together. And that makes a strong team from perspective of support and also knowledge transfer.
Mhm.
So just keeping in touch, talking about, we're releasing this patch because it's going to do X, Y, Z, going to affect the systems that you support,
Mhm.
all those things that goes down to the help desk folks to know why, this system is unavailable. And so even them getting some knowledge transfer down that level. So again, the challenges are understanding, where it fits, because my experience is that things change so rapidly, and not only the technology but personnel. Keeping track of who knows what and who does what can be a
Right.
challenge in the organization. So the worst thing is to feel orphaned. That means that you got this situation, no one really knows how to fix it. You go
Mhm.
to and based on the support agreement you have with the vendor, or there might be some issues, challenges there.
Right.
So I've been to a point where I've had situations where the CIO says, "I got a hotel for you. You guys can't leave tonight until it's fixed."
Mhm.
To, hey, I know exactly what that problem is. I can
Yeah.
resolve it, or you call this person, they can resolve it right away. Um,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned that also, because I wanted to get into like working hours, right? And understanding the level of commitment when it comes to IT, right? Because everybody's at different levels, right? So some people are at a level of IT where it's like, hey, I go home and this is a 9 to 5. And some people are at a level of IT was like, you don't go home until this resolved. And I'm calling you on weekends and I'm paging you or looking for you all the time. So can you talk about the kind of those different levels of responsibility as you grow in IT?
well, I'm probably the senior statesman on the call. I've been in the field for 30 plus years. I've done soup
Awesome.
to nuts. Um, I started off as a software developer doing coding, and we called it programming back then.
Yeah.
Went over to ops, worked with the ops team. I've been Microsoft certified engineer. I worked with the servers. I worked with the
Awesome.
network team, security team. I brought virtualization to our organization. So I was VMware certified when we had cloud on-prem. Then I worked with the group to migrate to the hybrid cloud, I mean to the public cloud. So, with AWS and GCP and the Azure, so I'm familiar with all those. And now I lead a nonprofit in IT to expose students, especially students in under-resourced areas, about IT, because one of the things that happened to me after 30 plus years is I didn't see folks that looked like me coming behind me. And that really gave me one of the reasons why the impetus to start a nonprofit, to make sure that I at least expose students. So right now, the biggest things I'm exposing AI. We're doing AI for high school students for 18 months. Now I just started to launch the AI curriculum for middle school students. So
Awesome.
The thing I would say is, based on what you're doing, I mean, any of those particular roles can be help desk might be a 9 to 5, but you're managing a server team, you're doing security, you're doing networking based on rotation and who's on call that week or whatever. Hey, I've been on call when I'm on vacation. I was a subject matter expert. I ran this system, and although I was on vacation, they said, don't turn your phone off. Real talk.
Yeah.
And I didn't turn and people are like, you're taking a call. I'm like, yeah, it's paying us for this vacation. Yes, I'm taking this call. And that's reality. I'm not doing career readiness talks. I have a lot of students want to go into cyber.
Yeah.
A lot of them want to go into security. And I said, that's awesome. But don't think particularly at passive security, you're going home and saying, I'll be home for dinner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You may not be home for dinner. You may not be home for breakfast.
And I think a lot of people are not understanding the work-life balance, and we definitely want to touch on that to help people understand the work-life balance, because we all strive to achieve a certain thing, right? But at what cost, right? So we want to be cautious of and cognizant of work-life balance when it comes to getting at the top level of where you want to be at, right? Because it may come at a price that you're not willing to pay, right? So, I wanted everybody to kind of touch on the work-life balance for them as they've grown in their IT field.
Quincy, being on the cybersecurity compliance side of the house, dealing with documentations, collaborating with the different specialties, allows me that flexibility where I can come in as early as I want and leave as early as I want, or come in as late as I want and stay as late as I want. So it's not like a security operations center where they're 24/7 network engineers. Those guys, I commend them, when things need to change over or an outage occurs, these guys are the saviors, to keep that backbone operational. So I commend their work. I enjoy what I do because I have a family, and I would like to see my son, got him through elementary, middle school. Now I want to see him through high school. So, that this type of role in the compliance side allows me that flexibility to be home, pretty much in a timely fashion, right? So, and kudos to those who love the 24/7 operations. That takes a unique individual to do that type of work. I commend them.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. For me, again, my situation is a little bit different because I'm on the technical side. So I'm not a network engineer, but when the network goes down, I'm probably like the second or third person to be notified. But the networking team is like you said, they're 24/7 pretty much, because if the network goes down, there's nothing anybody can do to resolve any issues. So there's a really tough battle with IT and the work-life balance, because it does require a lot of attention, because it's mostly attention to the small details. But I've been pretty lucky to have a supportive family, and my daughters are older, so they're out doing their own thing now, so I can do my own thing. But I was lucky. I had a really good support system.
Awesome.
I just chime in and said there's been some times where, I couldn't make it home for the game.
Wow.
Sun's game. I mean, it was code red.
Yeah.
The servers down. Payrolls tomorrow before payrolls in the cloud. Payroll system got to be run. We got to get this system back online. So even though it might have been a network issue, my server team, I manage the server team. We're up all night till it gets it done. So I missed some things. But I've been teaching like spin aerobics for 20 something years. That's my outs. For 60 minutes, I zone out. I don't care about anything. They can page me. I'm not picking it up while I'm spinning. They have to wait till it's over. I've got something to release all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you got to have some release. Because you have to. You got to have some out to just zone out and stuff. I'm not thinking about any of that stuff right now because it can take a toll. And I've seen it on a lot of engineers. I've seen a lot of folks in our profession. I've seen them burn out early. And that's you got to balance it. That's a good question. You got to balance yourself.
Gotcha. Okay. Jade, is he still on?
I'm here.
Yeah, we about just work-life balance and stuff, and how to maintain that while you're trying to get to the top, right? Because when you have a family and a spouse and everything, that's a fine line, right? And trying to work, trying to be this provider, but also trying to pay attention to your family. So how do you balance all of those things in the IT realm?
I think for me, as I grew in my career, I started, the work-life balance started being important. As your career is growing, your family, you're more involved, you're getting married, you're having kids. So you kind of have to understand what career part you want to go, what route you want to be at. And at first, I found it difficult because some of the jobs I had were very demanding. And also, some of the role and the field you're in, the sector you're in also matters. Some of the jobs I had to be on call 24/7, getting calls at 3 a.m., getting calls at 6 a.m., getting like all type of calls, and you have sleepless nights. And if you have young ones, it's very difficult. And I also realized as you advance in your career, you're relied upon. And then you have to find a job that really fits your lifestyle. When previously, when I worked for the Department of Emergency Management, the name itself, Emergency Management, uh, you will know.
Looking your hair on fire.
Yeah. So it was one of those that every single weather issue, it rains a little bit, snows a little bit. It's you're on call 24/7. You could be a cold in, and you could actually be at called in for an emergency, and you'll be in uh, the actual basement of the state police for about 2 to 3 days. Sometimes it could be 2 to 3 days. Sometimes it could be a day. So you have to find that balance where you have, if your wife's not available, you got to get someone that will babysit your kids, pick up your kids. So what I would say is, as you grow in your career, you just have to make sure you have the right fit. That was one of the challenges I had. And then I had to start, this is not working. This is stressful. This is getting a little stressful. But right now, I have a job that fits my lifestyle. There's still occasional, just because of my position, where I'll get a call and it's, hey, this is down, the network is down. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. And gracefully enough, it's not me that fixes those issues now. So I just have to reach out to a member of my team, reach out to find out what's going on. And depending on what it is, everything's an emergency for some. So depending on what it is, I'm like, you know what, we'll fix it tomorrow. This could wait till tomorrow. So you
Yeah.
just, my advice is know your role. Try to understand the kind of lifestyle you have. Before you accept any job, kind of make sure it fits what your career part fits your lifestyle and your life objectives. But if not, you're gonna have those challenges that you have to deal with. But I'm just it's been a blessing, and it's one of those challenges that I look back at now. I'm like, if I have anyone that wants to go to IT, I always have to let them know, if you're gonna be a cybersecurity person, you're gonna be in networking. If you're working for a Fortune 500 company, just know you're gonna get those calls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you for helping us kind of identify that. I think it's important that everybody listening and everybody on the call understands that life will always be lifing, right? That your life doesn't stop, and the things that's going to happen during life, kids, marriage, you know, soccer practice, whatever. That doesn't stop no matter what job you have. So, you know, you find yourself always trying to adapt to your lifestyle and, you know, and trying to adapt to your jobs. But it should never be a increase in quality of life for your family. Like, we all have to make sacrifices, but, you know, you always want to keep at the forefront of your mind what's most important, right? Because we're all working hard for our families. So, you know, just keep that in the back of your head as a new worker, as a new employee, no matter what career field it is, you all working ultimately hard for your family. So, you know, always keep that balance at the forefront of your mind. Next thing we wanted to kind of get into was more about what would you tell yourself 10 years ago about where you are now and how you could possibly be farther along or in a better position. I'll just go around the table and start.
Yeah, for me, you know, I was always fixated and enamored with the field of law enforcement and security, right? And in the military, 9/11 hit, my mind was already set. I'm going to pursue security studies or something along those lines, homeland security degree, and go from there. And I realizing that that I would end up where I am today, right? So if I would have done it a little bit differently, I think I would have just focused on computer science as far as my a preferred, you know, career field while in college, right after the military, because everything from there, you know, computer science serves as the foundational, and then you build from there, and that's how you become a little bit well versed as far as how operation systems operate, how they secure them better. It was a little bit of a learning curve going into this field 8 years ago. So if I would have done it differently, I think when I separated the military, I would have chosen a computer science background and focused on that and build that foundational, and then, you know, maybe my career would have been a little bit more ahead of schedule, but I think I'm way ahead of schedule as it is. But it was a little bit of a learning curve at first, right? Learning what an operating system is and how does it work and the criticalities of it. So I think I would have fared out a little bit better um, focusing on a computer science, you know, degree. But still, nonetheless, I'm still successful. I view myself as far as where I'm at now. It's been a huge success, so I have no gripes or complaints. You know, everything happens for a reason, right? So here I am. Yeah, yep.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with that. I would have to say the same thing. I would probably just start my technical career a little bit earlier, but everything else has really just been right on time.
Mhm.
I'm in a position where I have a team up under me. I make good money. You know, like I said, I have a great support system, great people around me, my great friends or partners at FTZ.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't change too much because I think everything is happening right when it's supposed to be happening for me.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Marcus, floor is yours.
Okay. So I would have to agree. Computer science. I have a computer science degree. I graduated 2 years ago in it. I know it could be challenging, like as far as somebody who didn't come from there
Right.
to IT. It can really be challenging. You don't know what operating system is. You don't know
Correct.
what internet protocols are and stuff like that. So, you know, when people are seeing, oh, I want to do cybersecurity, I want to do cybersecurity, you know, that computer science background is so important. So I understand what you're talking about. Absolutely. So, you know, even programming has a lot, you know, can have a lot of impact to it. Just every aspect, artificial intelligence, everything with computer science. That's why I chose it to begin with before I went to college and stuff like that. I was like, I need something basic that's gonna cover everything, and then I want to go to my discipline. And
Exactly. You
that's
built
why
from
I did.
Yeah,
That's
Exactly.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else want to chime in?
They go right where I'm supposed to be. If I look at 10 years ago, I mean, we're just so that'll be 2014. We were just starting to move on-prem systems to AWS.
Okay.
And then we were doing a little bit of Azure. And then they actually changed and pivoted and wanted to go to Google Cloud. And probably if I was really deeply in operations, I was moving them to more out of ops, more into like project management, really managing the team. I probably would have spent a little bit more into maybe getting certified in one of those cloud disciplines. But I was starting a nonprofit too, so it just worked out well. But I think I am where I'm supposed to be, right? And I always thought I look at Tiger Woods used to make this statement years ago when he was really well. He was said they asked him about the money. He said, "Well, I love what I do, and if I do it where I'm supposed to do it, the money will come."
Amen.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I love that statement back then. It's like I love what I do. If I do it where I'm supposed to do, and somebody might challenge that, but I kind of work. It makes sense and it worked for me, right? The
Yeah.
other stuff that comes behind the hard work. I love what I do because you gotta love this. You have a passion. If you just I want to go into this field because it's lucrative, you might get challenged.
But exactly, you'll
Right.
be disappointed.
You might get challenged
Yep.
because you may not be
Yep.
willing to make the sacrifices
Yep.
you're going to make for it to
Yeah.
be that. So if you say, "Well, I heard you make a lot of money," okay, but there's some
Right.
stuff that comes along with that. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
The rent is due every day, right?
Right.
Every day.
Every day.
Gotcha. Awesome. I think it's important for also people to understand, like, you trying to do things for money
Mhm.
Yeah.
always end in a way that you didn't project, right?
Yeah.
So you never want to go after a career path or anything just for the money, right? You have to have a general interest in it, right? Because once what starts to happen, I professionally think so. I think what starts to happen as you get more and more money, you get more and more resistance, and the job becomes more and more difficult, right? You heard of more money, more problems, and that is absolutely true, right? But if you don't necessarily have a passion for what you're doing, no matter what the dollar figure is, right? You'll waver from that. And hey, I don't want to do this no more. I don't like it or whatever, because it never was your real passion in the first place. You was there for the money. So don't do anything for just money. Like, at its lowest level, you want to have a general interest in what you're doing because you actually it feeds your mind, right? So whether it's IT or engineering, whatever it is, it feeds your mind. And we all have to find something that feeds our mind in a positive type of way and make a job out of it. So and that's really rare that people find something that they like to do and actually get a job in that career field. So you have to pick and choose wisely about what career journey you want to take, because when you're good at it and you're passionate about it, it shows and the money will come.
I agree.
Right.
I definitely agree.
So I wanted to also, I'm glad Marcus was on now. I wanted to talk about kind of the IT brother sisterhood that is out there, right? How IT members kind of take care of themselves and how IT members are always in the know when it comes to different things, right? You can talk the language, you know what I mean, and you do different things like that. I want you guys to talk about like how, like, when you get on a call like this, how being familiar with each other and each other's position and credentials and everything like that, and just the struggle of being in IT, how that's important to you to have somebody else to network with.
I mean, very important. Like, I'm young in my career. I just started really 2 years ago. Back at school, I had 3 Department of Defense internships and stuff like that. So that was really the start of it. And then when I went full time with the government, I'm trying to see, where I want to fit in, what I really want to do. But to have somebody like say like, "Oh, I'm in management, I'm in this," it's something I want to do. So it's like, oh, okay, so I can see a pathway to it. But something that I can see somebody who had it already, but I can see a pathway how I can get it for myself.
Exactly.
So that's very important to have somebody who's like above you in career field and stuff like that to see what pathway you can take for yourself to get to that goal.
Gotcha. Okay. Understand. I also believe that, mentorship is absolutely important for everybody at every stage of your career, right? Because no matter how much you put your face in the book, no matter how much hands-on you do, there's always somebody that knows more than you. always, right? So, you know, you being humble enough to say, hey, can I get some help here? Or can you teach me this? Or, hey, can I shadow you for a day or just help me out a little bit, right? There are certain career fields that you have to be humble in because somebody will always know more, right? But by you being humble, it allows access and you to open up for you to learn more, right? And then it's always a pattern of, hey, you know, I helped you, you help somebody else. And I think IT is the information technology career field in itself sets a big pathway for that, right? Because everybody's trying to get better. Information is ever changing all the time, right? But also like continuing to grow and grow and grow and build because nobody knows everything.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree 100%.
We used to do brown bags where we'll have somebody from the server team, a DBA, someone from the network security team, someone from the networking team, someone from the app team. And we all would just kind of sit around and chew the fat and talk about it and start that social engineering. And so it became when you had issues, you had an ally, right?
Yep.
So that you could go to them. And then, you know, before you had to go and formally report what happened onto the upper management, you know, they would say, hey man, you know, that application is using this port, and that's where the vulnerability has been seen. And so they would give you the inside intel, right? So that, and you start building this trust. And so that, you know, we watched each other, we covered each other's back. So I suggest social engineering with the folks that you work with is so important. You don't want to be isolated. So it's almost not only knowledge sharing, but it's a trust. You build that team approach it so that when you have some situations that go on, you're going at it as a team rather than individuals. And I think that's, in my experience, been so important and helpful to develop that kind of trust amongst your peers. And that's great when you have trust amongst your peers. That's awesome. You can't put a dollar amount on that.
No doubt. For me, when I first got my first start in the cyber realm, GRC, it was a little bit of a learning curve there, right? Yeah, I had the certification, the foundational knowledge, but then I attached myself to a gentleman who's been around the agency since its inception, and a wealth of knowledge, you know. And this guy was just an open book, right? Ask him whatever, anything, ask him anything, and he knew. Like he guided me. Actually, if it wasn't for him, I would have never been where I'm at today as far as my respective role. You know, he really catapulted me. Like he really opened up my mind because, you know, a lot of folks, he just sat there, you know, on a daily basis on his computer. I'm like, so, you know, I inquired, hey, I'm the new guy. And we struck a good relationship. And this is the path. This is how you're going to progress. And these are the certifications that you need to attain in order to get to where you need to be. He's been there. He's done that. And unfortunately he's going to retire here in December. Wealth of Knowledge is going to walk out. But if it wasn't for him and being so open and just pouring into me, I think it would have taken me a little bit longer to get to where I'm at, right? So I applaud. I'm thankful for him and all the help that he's poured into me and all the knowledge, right? So, and I do that with the new guys that are coming in, right? New ISSOs, new ISSMs, new ISSEs as well. And I share my notes, where I encounter issues, and I develop updated SOPs of like, hey, maybe this will help you, and it got them further along in their career in the career field. So it makes it does no justice, right? No, it doesn't serve a good purpose if you just hold on to information, right? You know, what good does it do? You're gonna take it to your grave and then what? It dies there? No. You want to impart and leave a legacy, right? So I'm a social butterfly at work, and I'm like, hey, did you think about this? Did you do this? And you know, can you spruce this up? And I wouldn't do that if I were you, you know. So get people thinking and talking, right? So I'm definitely enjoying this journey, man. I really am.
I think IT is the template for the phrase "you are as strong as your weakest link," right? Because anyone that's your weakest link can be a vulnerability and bring the whole thing down, right? So you want to have a strong team, you want to share knowledge, and you want people to be, you know, when Ron's in the bed in the middle of the night, he want to be able to call somebody on the phone and be like, hey, I need you to check A, B, C, and D. you
Right.
know, and look into
Right.
it for me, right? Because if I haven't embedded that into your mind, now you're like, hey, I don't want to touch anything. Can you get up and come down here, right? And you only get comfortable, especially younger people. You only get comfortable by people sharing knowledge with you, sharing knowledge and sharing knowledge and sharing knowledge, right? So we all, as more senior employees, we need to do a better job of just sharing knowledge with young people, and young people need to do a better job of being a sponge of all of that information, right? Because one day you're going to want my job and my career, my salary, and all of that. But if you haven't taken the opportunity to be a sponge, to gather that information, then you may not end up being in the position that I am.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I agree. I had I still have two really great mentors that I can ping anytime I have an issue that I can't solve or just need some advice on leadership and how to carry out certain tasks. But the team that I lead, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better team. I'm never the type of person to say I know everything, because I don't. And somebody may be better at something than me, and they can teach me as much as I teach them. So that's the kind of environment that we have. We just all learn from each other. And I think it's great to have that type of camaraderie with people that, I mean, you generally wouldn't know, So I think it's good to build that type of friendship in IT.
And a good organization has different personalities, right?
Yes.
You might have somebody just work, and then you might have another person that just sits back and analyzes everything. But to be a good organization, you need the both, and you need them to come together. So, you always keep that in back of your mind, and you want a melting pot of personalities when it comes to different professions, including IT. You need all of those personalities to bring forth the attributes that they have, and also the work habits that they have. Because some people are just thinkers, some people are reactors, but you need all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I wanted to, before we kind of close out here, I wanted to just thank all you guys, but I wanted to touch base on, like, if you can, right now, if I was a young person, talking to you guys, and I was like, hey, what credentials do I need to go get right now that need to be captured on my resume to get me an interview, get me in the door? What would you all say that we need to focus on and start to work towards that goal?
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you're completely a novice, CompTIA is the way to go. Get those foundational. Learn how a computer operates, learn how a network operates, and then learn security, how everything is secured, right? I think from there, having that foundation will yield tremendous benefit, decrease your learning curve in the actual role that you're going to partake in, possibly. And then from there, you'll find your niche, whether it's going to be cloud. You already know how an operating system operates, how a computer operates, how a server operates, right? Things of that nature. But it's all in the virtual realm, right? So you may lean towards that way and focus your efforts in a cyber and a cloud type of role. But I think just starting the foundational CompTIA would be a sound path, and there's stuff out there that's relatively cheap. Watching YouTube, Udemy, you don't have to go and spend $2,000-3,000 on a boot camp, right? So, but again, it's definitely a journey, and I think those three, focus on those and possibly Server Plus, right? So, I think those will be the solid foundation to have, and then from there you can catapult to whatever specialty you want to pursue, right?
Yeah, I agree. I would say the same thing. A+ cert, CompTIA, they have a great I want to say suite of certifications to get you started. And like Nando said, to get you on the right path. Once you get those certs, you'll basically figure out which direction you want to go.
Right.
There's a lot of things you can do. I know PGCC has a program, and they have a scholarship program for students, high school students just coming out of high school. And I think younger, I think it's up to, I don't know if they have an age limit, but the point is they have a program to where you do like 6-week training, and then they prepare you for the A+ cert that you can take on site with them. So I mean, it's a good way to go.
Sure.
Anybody else have anything to chime in?
I think fundamentally as an individual, IT, we say IT all the time, and
Mhm.
as you can tell, everyone is in different spaces here. I think if you're trying to get into that IT space,
Right.
I think understanding, first you need to know what your love and passion is.
Yeah.
Because I found myself going to the wormhole of IT and to where I believe now in terms of like operations and management is where I fit in and where I'm loving right now.
Yeah.
But like for someone that's just, coming out of high school trying to figure out, do I go into networking? Do I go to cybersecurity? Do I go to database management? Do I go into systems admin, help desk specialist, project management? There's so much career part that you could be in IT field. Is first understanding, like we said, if it's computer courses or just knowing, understanding what a basic computer skill is and just basic computer skill and what your love is.
Right.
If you like playing video games, are you the one that likes playing the video games? Are you interested in knowing how does that character move this way? How does
Yeah.
this come this way? Or you more on the hardware? Huh, that's interesting. I want to build stuff. I want to do stuff. Or you the one like, oh, I bet I could get into that folder and pull that file out. Or I bet I could secure this and secure that. So you need to understand that. And it takes a while to really, that's why I mean, there's so many parts. You don't want to spend a lot of money first to figure that out, right? But you could take your community colleges offers
Yeah.
basic
Very much.
computer 101 classes. There are
Yep.
basic certification classes that actually touches on each aspect of that field. Then you
Mm.
could definitely see, you know what, I like this. I like to be a cybersecurity specialist. You know what, I like programming. You know what,
Mm.
I'm skilled at project managing. And then you have that zeal and passion. If not, you might get in, and you know what? If you're just in it for the money, you go in there. Oh, cybersecurity makes all the money in there. You get in there, you realize
Yeah. That
good
takes
money,
time.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So, just for the way I'm at now, the path I got to here, I just if any young buck out there, young lads out there, anyone that wants to just come to me for advice is you got to figure out what you want for yourself. You got to figure out what your passion is before you then jump into that field.
And reverse engineer it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so I completely agree with what he said. I started with software engineering,
Yeah.
hated it, hated it. It's not like school, hundreds of
Right.
lines of code. I was dealing with thousands of lines of code. Hated it, but it will take a couple of tries, it'll take a couple of tries of what you really want to do,
Right.
So when I switch over to more networking, IPv6, that gets me more excited. It's more like, oh, okay, like I understand that. It just, it takes a couple of tries than just, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes you gotta try a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And just like our website says, you don't know what you don't know, right? So,
Right.
and in it, and you get an understanding of it, you can't say that you don't like something or you're good at something until you actually you know what you know, to make an informed decision. And so, as Functional Training Zone, we're here to help young people make an informed decision about all our careers, things that they can gain access to help them make a more informed decision. So I want to thank all of you guys for your time, your professionalism, and your experience. And I really appreciate you. And join us again next time. All right.
The next one. Take care, everyone.
Good evening. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.